Welcome back, boxing fans, to a great show with Sean on boxing. Today, we're going to be talking about the upcoming Mike Tyson Jake Paul card and the great card it is overall. And then, of course, the Latin card this weekend in Saudi Arabia, and a lot of boxing news that has popped up this week. So stay tuned, jump in the chat, break it down. Let's get to it after this message. What's up, my peeps? Happy to be back for another boxing talk. I said Wednesday is going to be the live, and here we are. So obviously, we're going to be talking about this weekend fight cards. It's unfortunate for me. Of course, the one weekend I have to work on a Saturday for a school flea market is the morning that the Jake Paul card is happening. And to be honest, anyone who watches my channel knows I'm not super stoked about the whole Jake Paul, Mike Tyson thing. I like Mike Tyson. I'd rather not see him in a circus fight, but reportedly he's going to make $20 million for this fight. Jake Paul reportedly is making $40 million. I don't know if the numbers are correct or not, but if that's the case, I can't really hate on Mike Tyson getting paid. But, the card itself, boxing, I'm excited about. The main event, I'm not really a fan of. If Tyson knocks out Jake Paul, beautiful. If he gets beat by Jake Paul, it just becomes a farce, right? But let's get to it, find out what everyone else is talking about, talk about some of the other great fights that are on this card and things to look forward to. Zaki's in the house, also amazing. What's up? Zaki says, is this Mike Tyson fight sanctioned and a loss goes on the record? Jake Paul currently is ranked by the WBC a cruiserweight, if I'm not mistaken. So if that's the case, then I would think this fight would go on to his record, right? I mean, not that it's going to be detrimental to his record one way or the other, because at this point, when you're 57 years old, I think he's a year older than me, people know what it's about. It's just a shit show. And this fight, I guess in a sense, is more legitimate than Floyd Mayweather fighting Conor McGregor, because at least Jake Paul has had some official boxing fights, whereas Conor McGregor was an amateur, never had one professional fight, and then jumped into a big mega fight. So, that says everything you know there. Also, Amazing says, is the fight listed on BoxRec? Yeah, it is. Are you kidding me? Jake is ranked at cruiserweight. I'm pretty sure, and they were talking about him potentially being put in position to fight for a vacant or fight for a world title. BoxRec, I noticed, sucks lately. BoxRec sucked for a long time. The whole algorithm, the whole ranking system. Let's hope that Turkey Al-Sheikh buying Ring Magazine, they can take over for CompuBox. Maybe they can buy that other CompuBox type of competitor and sort of merge them with Ring Magazine and sort of take over boxing, BoxRec and CompuBox, bring it together and make it more accessible app for news, CompuBox information, and the rest. And at least you could see it being really the Bible of boxing at that point, because their rankings, well, people do disagree with them. People do talk about them. Whereas BoxRec, no one talks about it because everyone knows it's a shit show. There's no truth, no legacy, no legitimacy at all. But let's get to it. So here we go. So, of course, this weekend, I think the biggest fight on the Friday night fight card on Netflix, that's fucking excellent. I'm so angry that I can't watch it Saturday morning on Netflix in my house. But obviously, this is the fight. Katie Taylor, Amanda Serrano 2. I'm not a big women's boxing fan. Anyone that watches my channel knows I've watched boxing, women's boxing, for years, well before Ali's daughter, the coal miner's daughter, Lucia Riker, and all of those ladies back then. Kind of like when I watched the WNBA. Of course, being a sports fan, I pay attention to these things. But they weren't able to grab me and keep me. So obviously, for a long period of time, I ignored the WNBA and I ignored women's boxing. But when I saw that Taylor Serrano 1 fight, What a great fucking fight that was. See, that's really the difference when we're talking about the GOAT in women's boxing. You look at Clarissa Shields, she doesn't have any opponents that are at that level. They can put her in a fight that's really the female fight of the century, right? That Taylor Serrano fight needed a rematch because it was such a great fight. The ebb and the flows. At one point, it looked like Serrano was going to knock Taylor out. Taylor bit down on the gum shield, kept fighting, showed you what a dog she truly is, and ended up winning that fight in a very, very close competitive fight. Now we get the rematch. Beautiful, right? I was talking to my Taiwanese friend. He's Americanized Taiwanese, loves Dallas Cowboys. So he's a real fucking Republican American, even though he's Taiwanese. But he was asking about when this fight's happening and everything else, and he's the kind of guy that is not interested in this women's boxing at all. He is the legitimacy of what you would say a Republican is. Why did that woman rematch take so long to make? Well, it was delayed, right? Obviously, it was scheduled earlier. The whole Jake Paul fight card thing was scheduled earlier, but then Tyson had some health issues, and obviously that delayed things. Does Carissa have any super fights at her weight? I don't follow women's boxing. Well, she had the one woman from the UK, but she's already fought her. She beat her. And at this point, that woman needs to do something to sort of legitimize a rematch. But outside of her, there's not really any opponents that anyone cares about. She just fought some Canadian heavyweight who's straight up garbage in a weight class that doesn't have any fucking fighters, right? And then you're going to talk about her being, the GOAT and so legitimate, but she's literally fighting in a weight division that has no fighters, none, right? The woman that she beat never beat anyone to win a title, had a terrible record, hadn't beaten anyone fucking you could look at and go, oh, that's a good win. So it was a real shit fucking opponent, real shit opponent. But that's the position she's in. She's a big girl, and there's not a lot of big girls in the sport of boxing. You need to be around 140 pounds to really be at that best weight division for female boxing. Is it me, or is Clarissa is influenced by what the narrative channels say? I know she listens to them. Well, she's the same as them. She's so racially biased, it's ridiculous, right? But here's the numbers of this fight. You ask Clarissa Shields how much money she's ever made in a fight. What's up, Iceman? These two ladies are getting paid over $6 million each for this fight. I mean, this is the biggest fight in women's boxing history. That's a fact. This is the biggest fight in women's boxing history. This is huge for women's boxing. $12 million purse? Jesus Christ, man. Like, the majority of men in the sport of boxing don't make this much money. This is kind of the equivalent of what Ronda Rousey was doing in the UFC, where she was headlining pay-per-views and she was the A-side. She was the person that was generating the revenue for the pay-per-views, so she was getting paid as the superstar. And then a bunch of men were on the undercards getting paid tiddly squat, right? And this is the same here. These ladies are getting fucking paid huge by Netflix. So congratulations to them. They deserve it. Obviously, Taylor, if she loses, she very likely may retire. And for Serrano, I don't think she's going to retire anytime soon. She's just such a dog that she just wants to do more than anybody else in the sport of boxing. She's like the female Manny Pacquiao in a sense. Call me crazy, Sean, but I had Boots Ennis losing that fight. You crazy, buddy. Boots did not fight great, but he did not lose that fight. The best you could say was it was 7-5 Boots plus the 2 points taken down. So he still would have won by, 3 points, right? So, there's no way he lost the fight. But his performance was subpar. But not necessarily subpar because he was shit, but it was subpar because his opponent fought fucking great. And I don't think enough people are giving that guy due credit because he fought very well, right? The way he fought was very effective. He really made adjustments, which is what most people felt Boots was going to do in this fight. But this guy came out and fucking adjusted on the adjustments, and then Boots didn't know what was going on. Couldn't land a fucking jab, right? This guy should have used his jab a little more later on in the fight when he was utilizing his jab, sort of a shotgun jab, it was super effective. He was really getting to Boots with that jab. And then maybe it was wear and tear, tiredness. Boots is bigger than him, obviously hits harder than him, was holding him and hitting him. And so obviously that would have worn him down. Also hit him with a lot of really good body shots. Trash trainer of the year, Boozy Ennis, Ben Davidson, Tio Sr. Who you got? I would probably have to say Ben Davidson, because that Anthony Joshua performance was abysmal, right? Like, with his boxing pedigree and the fact that he's seen people beat this guy before, to go in there and literally fucking look as shit and unprepared as AJ did, like, it was disappointing. I could not fucking believe what I was seeing, because it was very different from my reality. I still said that I think Daniel Dubois could knock him out and win the fight, but I felt that AJ would move, use his jab, be effective, just using his boxing ability. But he was not effective at all in anything that he did. Boozy still telling Boots to get the stoppage. Tyson by premeditated murder. Let's hope so. Let's hope Tyson knocks him out. That would make the world balanced, right? That's what it would do. It would really balance boxing and balance the world as a whole. We'll be talking about that, of course, right here. So here we go. Jake Paul is reportedly set to make $40 million. Mike Tyson is set to make $20 million in their boxing match next week. That's fucking huge, man. The fact that Netflix is willing to pay that much money to put on this kind of fight, it's not hard to imagine, because we knew that the Mike Tyson-Roy Jones fight did pretty good pay-per-view numbers, considering both of those fighters were well past their best. So Jake Paul, based on the marketing and the hate towards him and the social media content, you could understand this fight was going to be pretty successful. And Netflix obviously isn't doing pay-per-view for this. They're putting this as regular TV, which means they're going to get a shitload of fucking people watching. And that's what they're looking for, right? They're looking for consumption. And they're going to get great consumption for this fight. I don't know how many millions of people are going to watch this fight, but this is really going to shine a light on all these pay-per-views and how pay-per-view is just a terrible fucking way to go. Terrible. Because, Netflix is an app as well. You would think they would try to do pay-per-view to try to suck out as much money as they could from the boxing fan. But they're not doing that, because they know by doing it free on Netflix with your subscription, you're going to get a shitload of new subscribers, and you're just going to get so many fucking people watching this event. It's going to be huge for them. Huge. If Karen had a little more power, it would have been a different outcome. If Karen had some power, it would have really told us a lot about Boots Ennis, right? Because he was getting hit fucking a ton, and he was absorbing them easily. Never really looked too fucking. He looked frustrated consistently, but he never looked hurt at any time. I'm surprised Mike isn't making more. He has such a huge fan base. Salute Sean Boxing, John McSmith. Salute. Welcome in. $20 million, man, for what is not even really a legitimate boxing event. Like, what do they call it? It's more of shit. What do you call those? Like, when it's not real. I know their marketing is it's real, but in truth, it's more of that other fucking thing. You giving Tevin Farmer any shot to upset Zepeda? Fucking zero. Zero shot at upsetting fucking Zepeda. Zepeda is going to get that fucking little cross-eyed motherfucker out of there in 6 rounds, and that dude is going to see straight afterwards. And then he's going to praise Zepeda for fucking doing what doctors couldn't do fucking for 30 years. Straighten his eyes out. Yes, an exhibition match. That's what it is, right? It's an exhibition match, right? From what I heard, and I don't know the legitimacy or the truth to this, but they were saying there's real penalties and provisions in place to stop Mike Tyson from trying to knock out Jake Paul. If he was to knock him out in 1 round, he would almost make nothing for the fight. To me, that didn't sound fair or even legitimate. Now we're seeing these numbers, so you got to wonder what the balance between the two is. But, nonetheless, I think it's a great fight. We know that Jake Paul is talking about challenging Canelo Alvarez if he beats Mike Tyson. And in truth, if he beats Mike Tyson, people are going to fucking want to pay to watch somebody knock that motherfucker out, right? And if that has to be Canelo Alvarez, people are going to love Canelo Alvarez if he fucking knocks out Jake Paul. All the haters are all of a sudden going to become big fans. Obviously, in the meantime, they're going to hate on him for cherry picking Jake Paul. Zepeda could fix Shakur's gap teeth next. Hopefully he will. That is supposed to be what happens. But as we talked about in a previous video, with his injury and whatnot, we're not sure if he's going to be jumping in to take on an opponent like that, obviously off of inactivity and obviously off of an injury. And I wouldn't blame him, to be fair. I mean, you don't want to step in with Zepeda if you're not 100%. But let's move on down the road. So here we go. This is the Mike Tyson card. I like this quote. Tyson said, "There's a fundamental difference between me and Jake. He's a manufactured killer. I'm a natural born killer. That's the difference." And that's totally fucking fact. Predetermined outcome, I think, for entertainment. Exactly. That's what it is, right? It'll be entertaining, and then it'll probably end in a draw, right? Kind of like the Roy Jones Tyson fight did. But look at this card overall. I mean, it's happening, man. You know, outside of the first fight, which I don't know who those fucking guys are, but then you got Bruce Carrington. I'm happy to see Bruce get a nice payday, and I'm happy to see him stay busy. Obviously, Bruce is a really good fighter, well-spoken kid, and I really want to see him get a world title fight at 126 pounds in 2025. Then, of course, you have Shadese Green, big hard puncher. Maybe she will be the next opponent for Clarissa Shields, right? That potentially could be an opponent. I thought she fought her before, but when you have such a small pool of fighters, you might as well fucking rematch, right? If Tyson doesn't knock him out, he will probably gas out in 2 rounds. I hate this Jake Paul clown. I hope he gets smashed. And then, of course, you have the great Canadian fighter, Lucas Baddy, versus some dude, Armano Casamonica. I don't know who that kid is, but Lucas Baddy is getting a lot of attention. Obviously, anytime a young Canadian fighter with knockout power is getting attention, that's a good thing, right? I'm happy to see him be relevant and potentially get into some bigger fights moving forward. Where is he right here? Let's check him out on BoxRec for a second. BoxRec. I know it's shit, but it's convenient nonetheless, just to find out information about certain people. There we go. My man, 17-0 with 15 KOs. Currently 30 years old, right? He's no prospect, not 30 years old. So far, he's fought a lot of bum-ass opponents, which is no surprise why his resume looks good, right? The guy he's fighting today is 14-0. His last opponent was 11-0. So he's been fighting some unbeaten opponents recently. So that's obviously good. That's obviously a step up. But at this point, you know, I don't think he's going to be a world beater. And then, of course, you have Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano. I like Taylor, but I favor Amanda Serrano to beat her in the rematch, which may be perfect. It might set up a trilogy fight between the two of them, and then, you know, Katie could retire after that trilogy. And that would be Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier-esque, right? And yet still Clarissa Shields will fucking talk about being the GOAT. Yet when you compare what she's done in the sport of boxing, the resume she has compared to Katie Taylor, it's abysmal. Fucking abysmal, right? Like Katie Taylor's resume is deep. It's fucking Canelo Alvarez-esque. And then, of course, you got Mario Barros versus Abel Ramos. That's a good fight, right? Quality. A quality matchup, man. I'm not the biggest Mario Barros fan, but I think it's smart for him, you know. I'd rather see him fight this guy than fucking Pacquiao in a shit fight that wouldn't mean anything. Here we got Mario, right? Hopefully somewhere down the road we can see him in the ring with Boots Ennis. 29-2, only stopped once, 18 KOs. Obviously came off a very good win in 2023 against Jugas. Last year he beat fucking a cherry pick, Maidana's brother, went the distance with him, and obviously now is fighting Abel Ramos, who's good, but he's like 80 years old. This dude, we all know him. He's been around fucking for a long time. 28, 6-2, strong, tough guy, only knocked out once. You could imagine that this fight's going to be a real war and is going to go 12 rounds. But obviously, Barrios is younger, better boxing ability, able to use his jab to control distance. He's probably going to win the fight, I would think, pretty clearly. This guy lost to Cody Crowler, not a hard puncher, but a slick boxer. Lost to Ugis, not a hard puncher, but a slick boxer. Beat a small, old-ass Omar Figueroa. Lost to Luke Santamaria. Who the fuck is that guy? And then just beat a guy in Juan Raman Guzman last year or this year. And now is stepping in to face fucking Mario Barros. So it should be an easy fight for Mario. But we know basically what it is. It's a payday from Netflix. Congratulations to him. And hopefully that will be enough for him to get off his lazy ass and take on one of these unification fights in 2025. Is this fight pay-per-view on Netflix or free? I think it's fucking free, man. I'm pretty sure it's free. I'm pretty sure it's free. I've not seen anything to the contrary. I don't even have Netflix on my phone. Maybe you guys can check on your Netflix. But yeah, I think it's free. Free, man. Like we were saying, I think this is the way to go. They're probably going to get over 10 million, maybe fucking more. Maybe 20, 25 million people globally will watch this fight on Netflix. Because Netflix is a global fucking app. Not like ESPN, not like Showtime. They're American. You can't watch them outside of America. I don't know how many times I need to tell certain people that, but you know, that's obviously the difference. If they do this globally, it should fucking do huge, huge. And hopefully this will show DAZN they don't need to put everything on pay-per-view either, that they could do the same thing and make their money. Let's skip ahead. So the news from Saudi Arabia. We've already heard this news. Obviously, we've heard that Inouye has just offered $19 million really in promotion of Riyadh season, which means that he's getting paid money just to, put the logo on his clothes, put the logo on the ring when he fights, even if he fights in Japan. We've seen that in the States already. Obviously, ESPN and Golden Boy and other guys are doing this already, right? They're putting that symbol everywhere. Boxers are putting on their shorts and everywhere as well. And so he's going to make huge cash. I don't know if this means that it'll culminate in a fight in Saudi Arabia for him. I would hope so. If you're going to get a fight like MJ Akhmedov, I think the only place to do that fight is Saudi Arabia, right? They knew you'd make huge money. They could pay money that's really worthwhile, probably more money than he makes in Japan, or at least on par, to take on an opponent that outside of Japan, a lot of people don't care about. Like you couldn't do an Inouye MJ in America because American boxing fans are just not really boxing fans, right? For the whole, a lot of people are just drama queens and dick riders and don't really follow the sport so clearly, so they don't even know who he is, and they would just give Inouye very little credit at all, even if he fought him. And then, of course, His Excellency just bought Ring Magazine, which is fantastic. I know people talked about Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy owning it was a conflict of interest. But now with Turkey running it, what did he say? He said it's not going to be related to Riyadh season at all. It's going to be a complete, total entity to itself, meaning that the people that are in charge of it, running it, are going to run it. It's not going to be in a position where you could say there's a conflict of interest, right? People will still say that, but it'll be interesting to see what changes happen in the new year and moving forward with regards to Ring Magazine. Obviously, I hope Ring Magazine does very well because, I'm old school. I love magazines. I still would buy magazines on my iPad and watch them that way. Slam Magazine, Ring, and Boxer from the UK as well. So, I like having magazines, colored pictures, the whole rankings and everything else, fight previews and fight uh, results in the back pages, talking about some old historical fighters, talking about up and coming prospects. It's great to have Ring Magazine do these things because unlike the majority of these YouTube channels that people follow, they're not really pushing an agenda. Their agenda is profit, making money, having a magazine people like that sells, right? So in the long run, I hope it does well and is super successful. And hopefully, what happens is that Ring Magazine becomes the only official world title. And those other four sanctioning bodies fucking get thrown in the garbage where they belong. So we don't have to fucking listen to that bullshit any fucking more. Right? And that you're not getting fucking people paying Ring Magazine to elevate their fighters up a rankings. You got to literally fucking beat dudes on the rankings to elevate yourself according to the panel of people that run Ring Magazine's rankings. When you get into the position as the mandatory, it has nothing to do with your promoter, fucking, or any other fucking bullshit, right? You're there because you've earned it, and at that point, they can fucking mandate the Ring Magazine champion to face the number one contender. Hallelujah. There is a God. Let's hope that's what happens. I won't tip my glass to it, but, here's to hoping. Cheers. So let's keep moving through. This was a funny one. I put this here only because the hilarity behind it. Drunk Irishman's in the house. Oscar De La Hoya has offered to fight Eddie Hearn for free. The reality is, this is almost as fucking stupid and ignorant as all that clown bullshit we used to see on YouTube. We don't see it too much anymore, but I'm sure Drunk Irishman and some others remember when boxing channels consistently always fucking tried to call people out for fights, right? It was like, man, we are not boxers. We are boxing fans. You chatting on fucking your social media page or on your YouTube channel, acting like a fucking tough guy, wanting to fight people, makes you look like a fucking punk. That's what it does. Because if you were a tough guy, you wouldn't be fucking on social media talking about boxing. You'd be out there fucking doing something, right? Smashing fucking heads, taking fucking names. You'd be building your fucking street fucking cred instead of fucking typing away and listening to other people talk about the sport of boxing, right? When I was young, I'm the only fucking person I knew that bought Ring Magazine and watched boxing. Sure, other people would watch big events, big events, right? But outside of big events, they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know who these fighters outside of America were. Most of them didn't know any fighters that weren't Black Americans and maybe a couple Mexican fighters, So boxing has always been underground. It's mostly been nerdy, fucking geeky boxing fans who've been followers behind it, right? So we don't need to try to be tough on social media. I mean, Oscar De La Hoya was a professional boxer, a Hall of Famer, a legend. Now he wants to fight a promoter who gets in the gym just to stay in shape. Come on. Nobody's interested in seeing that shit. If he's a tough guy, go fight Jake Paul. Or Canelo, right? Go fight Canelo. You got such a beef with Canelo. Fucking Oscar De La Hoya versus Canelo. I'm sure people would love to see that fight. Zaki says, I'm seeing Murataya is going to get the Baranchek fight next. Is he really? Is he really? I don't know if that's true or not. Because from the result of the fight this weekend, Keyshawn Davis was supposed to be the mandatory. It was an elimination fight between him and fucking Lemos, right? An eliminator. So if that was an eliminator, what has Murataya done to earn a eliminator? Maybe he has. I mean, let's take a quick peek and see for ourselves. Muratala. Currently, he's ranked 6th by BoxRec. Keyshawn's ranked 9th. Those aren't the official rankings. But 27 years old, 22-0, 17 KOs, coming off of a win against Jesus Campos, beating Tevin Farmer in a fight he did not look fucking good at all. Beat the South African fighter, John Jenny, which is not a bad win, and then beat Diego Nunez and, of course, Jeremy Nakatila. After the Jeremy Nakatila fight, that was probably the point in 2023 where he should have probably been being pushed for a world title fight. But then you fight Nunez, Jonjani, an old ass Tevin Farmer, and some fucking club fighter. And you go the distance with two of them, both of whom are not hard punchers in Jonjani and Farmer. I don't know if this really is a fight that you deserve, right? I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it, but in truth, you would think that having Keyshawn Davis fight Baranchek, beating him, then his first mandatory opponent could be Muratalla, another ESPN-based fighter, right? Which obviously makes sense. I guess you could do it the other way around, but you don't have money to make from Muratalla Baranchek. Nobody knows who Baranchek is. He beat Navarrete, and that didn't mean he fucking got any name recognition in America. And Muratalla has no name recognition, right? Jake Paul should be ashamed of this cherry picking, but he is happy with the payday. Of course he should. He's giving Tyson $20 million as well, so it is what it is. Trinidad Cotto is a good exhibition match. Yeah, I don't know about that. Why would you want two Puerto Rican legends to go up against each other at this point? It sounds, taking away from both of them. So here's the rankings right now. Baranchek, William Zepeda is number 1. Obviously, we know that Zepeda is... Apparently, Zepeda was supposed to be number 1 by everyone, but of course, the IBF doesn't have him number 1. They have Sour fucking Abdurev number fucking 2 and the 1 position empty. So what does that mean? They're going to have Keyshawn Davis move to number 1 and become a Lomachenko mandatory? Or do they have the inside track and know that Lomachenko is going to vacate that title and retire? So then Keyshawn Davis would be elevated or potentially fight Zaur Abdurev to become the IBF champion. Raymond Muratalla would fight Dennis Baranchek to become the WBO champion. And then you could have a unification fight between those two fighters. That's good, solid, right? I mean, for me, I would be very disappointed and sad to see Lomachenko retire. But if that is what's going on, and ESPN obviously does have the inside track, it makes sense that they would do that. There even was some rumors that that was what was potentially going to happen. But you got to ask yourself, how come William Zepeda is no longer Lomachenko's number 1 mandatory? Before he was number 1, number 1, number 1, number 1. Now all of a sudden he's not even fucking ranked anywhere. And it's not like he's got a world title fight. I mean, there's speculation that he's going to fight Shakur Stevenson, but that's speculation. We don't know if that's really going to happen or not, right? And then, of course, you got Floyd Schofield and De Los Santos and Andy Cruz as the 3 fighters potentially for Tank Davis. The irony, Tank Davis fans have really been pushing Keyshawn Davis to fight Andy Cruz, right? Because, he's got to get his get back. So they're trying to put Andy Cruz in the way of, a Gervonta Tank Davis fight. But the irony is, the guy that may have to fight fucking Andy Cruz before anyone else is Tank Davis. He may become the WBA mandatory. Of course, we know what the WBA would do. They'd put him as the regular champion just so they wouldn't have to make Andy Cruz versus Tank Davis. But, it's kind of funny. Right now, Andy Cruz is number 14 by the WBO, number 6 by the IBF, number 4 by the WBA, and number 6 by the WBC. Jadi Herrera, the Cuban up-and-coming guy, is 15th, not ranked, of course, by the IBF, but Lucas Badai is number 10. And then neither of them are ranked by the WBO. Where are we? What's up, Sean and chat? What's up, Jag? For me, I just want to see guys fight. So obviously, if Muratalla got Baranchek fight, that would be cool because we know that Keyshawn would go the IBF route. But the problem is, obviously, I don't want to see Lomachenko retire at this point. It'd be disappointing. I think he still has some good fights left in him. And it'd be good to see him get at least a few fights in 2025 before retiring. But of course, at 37 years old, maybe he feels, what the fuck? Financially, I'm fine. I don't need to worry about all this shit. And that's true. So we will see. But Muratalla, Tevin Farmer, Keyshawn Davis, Muratalla for unification, lightweight world titles. That would really put the ball in fucking Shakur Stevenson and especially Tank Davis's situation to fight each other. I mean, if Shakur's going to fight Zepeda, that's a huge fight, right? So then what's Tank Davis going to do? Who's he going to fight? If he's not going to fight the winner of Muratalla and Keyshawn Davis for 3-bout unification, then what the fuck? And if he's not going to fight Shakur, then what the fuck? What's he doing? Right? Why is he wasting everyone's time? Of course, you're going to hear the Tank fanboys come out and justify it, but there's no justification. The same way we want everyone to fight for Undisputed is the same as this. Hey, Jag, are you around Dallas, Texas? So Sheik bought Ring Magazine. Oscar was all angry when he came to do Bud Fight in LA, and he just made him richer. Well, that's it. He wasn't really angry. He just was angry that he wasn't getting his fair share of the fucking money. Right. But here's this Latin card, of course, that's happening this weekend. I was listening to people talk about Zurdo and Billum Smith. Billum Smith is kind of like Pero, the Australian fighter. I never pick him to win, but they always fucking upset my card. Even in this fight, I'm going to pick Gilberto Ramirez Zurdo to win. But I would not be surprised at all if Billum Smith wins, right? He's just a tough, hungry, hard-punching fucking dude. Ramirez and Barboza. I'm going to favor Barboza to win this. Zepeda versus Farmer. Zepeda's going to fucking kill Farmer. Oscar Collazo versus the Thai fighter Nimrong. I'm going to have to go with Collazo by late stoppage in that fight. Duarte versus Akhmedov is a great fight. You know, that potentially could be the most entertaining fight on the card. And I would not be surprised to see Akhmedov upset Duarte, which would be, you know, the only Mexican fighter on the card to not win the title or not win his fight. I was going to say, Chris got free tickets for Mike Tyson fights. Wow. Nice. Tyson, Jake Paul, free at the Bayou. Dang, I wish I could go. Right now, lots of work, few days off. He spent all his fucking vacation days in Vancouver smoking weed and chasing after Asian chicks. Bad man, bad man. So let's jump through. Of course, this is another fight that was just set on purse bid, Janibek versus Shiraz. We just heard recently that Shiraz was in conversation to fight Erislandy Lara, which to me sounded like bullshit. Right now, of course, he's been mandated to purse bid for November 18th versus Janibek, and that's soon, right? Monday. So let's hope that goes through. This is a fight I'd love to see. Janibek, Shiraz, fucking Saudi Arabia, bang, perfect. You know, Janibek needs this fight. He needs fucking some attention. He needs a payday. He needs an opponent. This is the perfect scenario. Yeah, for some reason, I thought you was in Texas. Janibek, man, he has a hard time finding competition. Yeah, because the risk is too much for the reward. You're not going to make big money to fight him, and he's too dangerous. So this would be great. I like Shiraz. I'm going to favor Janibek because of his experience, but I would not be shocked or surprised at all if Shiraz won. And truth be told, if he won, I'd be super excited because it'd really bring a little bit of life to the fucking middleweight division, right? And if it's a competitive fight, they can do a rematch, which would be great for the division as well. This is the fight 160 needs. Yes, it is, Drunk Irishman. Benavidez Morel is finally set. Yep, that's true too. Here's some other stuff. Of course, we just saw Keyshawn calling out Tank Davis. I don't really understand why people are in their feelings. You should want people to call people out. The opposite is the problem. Just like Ryan Garcia calling out Boots, the chances of these two fights happening in 2025 is probably fucking zero, right? But if they were both made, it'd be great. I'd love to see Boots Ennis beat the fucking snot out of Ryan Garcia. And I would love to see fucking Keyshawn Davis versus Tank Davis. I mean, I favor Keyshawn based on his boxing ability, his jab, his foot movement, and the fact that he's got enough power to fucking make Tank Davis, be a little more cautious coming in to land big counter punches. But then, Tank Davis is always dangerous. So it's a great fight. Keyshawn is better than Roach. Fucking way better than Roach. If Keyshawn Davis fought Lamont Roach, literally people would have said he was cherry picking. Because that's what they said when he fought fucking Petraza. Petraza, who's a two-weight world champion, is a cherry pick. If he was going to fight Lamont Roach, people would have said it was a cherry pick. But because it's Tank Davis fighting Lamont Roach, they justify it. They try to make it sound like it's really a good fight, quality matchup. Yet these guys didn't even watch fucking Roach's last fight on Pro Box. They don't even know his last fight was on Pro Box. That's the stupidity with these fucking fans. Is Boots that bad defensively to get hit with that left hook? He definitely could get hit by that left hook. He got hit with a lot of those left hooks by, what's his face this weekend. The problem is, how much is Ryan Garcia going to have on that left hook at 147 pounds? He looked like he had shit endurance, fucking couldn't fight 3 minutes of a round at 140 pounds when he came in 3 pounds overweight. I just think, he's just not professional. He would come in hoping to land a big left hand, and in the meantime, inside 5 rounds, he'd get knocked out by Boots, and everybody would love it. Biggest duckers in history. I think, like Sean said, Recoil, probably a draw. Don't be surprised if one day they make Abner Mares come out of retirement to face Tank Davis. That's a fight they fucking wanted so bad, right? They wanted that fight so bad just to fucking, milk that Mexican fucking California fan base. Even though, what has Abner Mares done in fucking 5 years? You're trying to fucking sell that fight as if it's something people want to watch. It's not. People would be more excited to see Abner Mares fight Gary Russell's old ass, because at least they're around the same fucking weight division. Here we go. Talking about clout chasing. Obviously, this rumor was going around. And here's 2 more fucking guys talking out their ass, right? We know what Devin Haney's going to do next. Devin Haney is going to fight Ryan Garcia in 2025. That's going to be the first fight he has, right? To make tens of millions of dollars in the only fight that's fucking marketable for him. Sure, a Lopez Devin Haney fight would be a good fight, but do you think that fight would do fucking over 300,000 pay-per-view buys? Lopez is not a star. Haney's not a star. Haney looked fucking chinny and terrible, and Lopez has looked mediocre in fucking a ton of fights. You throw them together, maybe 2 years ago that fight would have been big. But at this point, nobody fucking wants to listen to Lopez calling out fucking Bud Crawford. And no one wants to listen to Devin Haney acting like he's going to be the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in boxing. Because they're both fucking clout chasers that just are talking more than they're doing. And historically, what made these 2 guys levels above other guys like Tank Davis and some others is they literally fucking fought the fights. Lopez beat Comey in a sensational victory, kind of like Keyshawn Davis's victory. And based on that, he ended up getting fucking a big fight with Lomachenko. Beat Lomachenko. You could say the same thing with Keyshawn Davis. Just had a sensational victory, get a Tank Davis fight. He's not favored. He's the underdog. But he very likely could do the exact same thing. Then he fought Josh Taylor. Obviously, there was too big of a gap in between. He obviously fucked himself by losing to George Kambosos. Devin Haney, literally crossed over to go to ESPN, to go to fucking Australia 2 times to get undisputed, then fought Lomachenko in his second defense. Fantastic. Then he went up to 140, fought Regis Prograis. Great, right? Literally taking on the kind of fights people wanted to do. Then fought Ryan Garcia in what we knew it was a money fight, trying to cash out, trying to make big money because he saw how much money Tank Davis made by fighting Ryan Garcia. Overlooked him, didn't take him serious, got fucking embarrassed. Embarrassed. Now, these guys, the rumor is they're going to fight each other. Nobody fucking believes that shit. And it was just confirmed that it's just bullshit. It's not going to happen. We know fucking Lopez is fighting with Top Rank, trying to get out of his contract. So he can do what? Go fight in Saudi Arabia? And I'm pretty sure fucking Turkey Al-Sheikh said, fuck Ryan Garcia and fuck Lopez because of the racially charged comments they came out with. So, it'll be interesting to see really what those dudes have ahead of them moving forward. Andre's in the house. Sup, Sean? You better not duck me, son. In my Keith Thurman voice. Abner Morris has lost his vision in the past 5 years. Bro, let's fight. Let's make young boxingers great again. These 135, 140 guys are the biggest diva cherry picker duckers in the history of boxing. I don't know if they're the biggest in history of boxing, but they definitely fucking carving out their own niche for sure. Bill Haney's idea for a lawsuit messed up Devin Haney's image bad. Him getting his ass knocked down repeatedly by the same punch definitely did not help his image. Getting fucking the grill, acting like he's all street, fucking getting in a fight with a fucking carny and missing a punch and having his homies jump on the guy as he backs away in fright. None of these things helped his image. And they just continue to fucking chip away at his image every day. Because we know this lawsuit is bullshit. That he's just trying to maneuver for a rematch with Ryan Garcia. Yeah, it seems like boxing is only sport where youth is bad. It's ironic, right? Like, what I love about sports was youth. I just watched, if you like college basketball, it's on YouTube right now. Kentucky versus Duke. I won't even tell you the score, but, obviously Kentucky, Calipari quit, went to Arkansas. They got a new coach and a lot of veteran players. So it's no star players. It's really team-oriented. And then you got Duke with the number 1 draft pick coming out this year. What a fucking game. And when you watch these young guys, man, it's great because it's always exciting, right, to see what kind of window they have. And that's why we're so excited about young up-and-coming athletes, whether it's basketball players, soccer players, football players, or fucking boxers, right? We just want to see these young guys reach their top ceiling and push themselves to become great, legendary. That's it. That Carney should sue Haney. He should. Brian Norman Sr. been all over YouTube bragging boots after his performance. I know, because you can't fucking build your son up based on what he's done. So what do you got to do? You got to shit on another fucking guy, right? That's what YouTube does. All these fucking race channels on YouTube, that cry racism, yet they're the ones that fucking consistently shit on other fucking black fighters all the time, just to fucking elevate the fighter they're dick riding, right? Whether it's them dick riding fucking Devin Haney to shit on fucking Tank Davis, or dick ride Tank Davis and shit on fucking Shakur, Keyshawn, fucking Haney, whoever. It's ridiculous. Cooper Flagg, I heard got humbled. Oh no, he played fucking great. He is so fucking dominant. Kentucky couldn't stop him. Kentucky doesn't have the best inside defense. They're not bad, but I think they're going to be exposed once they start playing the SEC teams, because they're going to have a lot of big athletic big men. And I think that's going to probably be the one area that hurts Kentucky moving forward. But Duke with the big guy Malawash, the 7'2" fucking African, and Cooper Flagg, fucking great. Cooper Flagg had 26, 27 points today with like 12, 13 rebounds. I don't know how he got humbled. For a guy in his second, third game in NCAA basketball to walk away with 28 and 14 with like 3 block shots, I would say he did pretty fucking well. If that's humbling, Jesus Christ, man, he's going to be like right up there with Caitlin Clark. Will the Paul versus Tyson fight be an exhibition, or are they going 100%? And who you got winning if it's a real fight? If it's a real fight, I got Tyson winning inside 3 rounds. But it's not, so it's going to go the distance. Agreed, D1 and regular guy held his own against what Haney and 4 guys. The reason I'm asking is because the Tyson versus Jones was clearly an exhibition between friends. Yeah, and I think this is going to be the same. $40 million on one side, $20 million in the other. I saw comments say Flag struggled in the second half, couple late turnovers. He had a couple late turnovers, yeah, but he didn't struggle. He was the guy carrying that team. If it wasn't for him in the second half, Duke would have fucking lost that game. I mean, their other great player, he didn't do anything in the second half. And 2 of their other rookies never played the whole game, right? And their point guard wasn't fucking, like, literally nobody did anything. The only other guy that did well is the guard from Australia. The last game I saw him play, he couldn't fucking hit a jump shot. Today, he did pretty well. He didn't shoot enough jump shots, but he was hitting at a high percentage. And Cooper Flag was unstoppable in the paint. Unstoppable. 28 points, man. And 16 of those were in the second half. So, do the math. Jose, what's up? Good morning, Sean. Shakur said he's not fighting because Shakur always be friends with people they bigger and stronger than him. What a girl. Well, you mean he's not fighting who? Keyshawn Davis. I know that's what IBFP was talking about today. I mean, some people love to push narratives. At this point, that conversation is irrelevant. Who fucking cares? Like, I point out to him, Canelo Alvarez said he wasn't going to fight any more Mexican fighters. He said, no. Canelo Alvarez never said that. You tell me, guys, in the comment section. Did Canelo Alvarez say he would not fight any more Mexicans? I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty much 100% confident that's exactly what he said. And people literally hated on him and criticized him. Not me, but people. So now Keyshawn Davis and Shakur aren't planning on fighting each other. Who gives a fuck? Like, literally, when you had the 2 Charlos, Andrade and Lara, at 154 pounds, nobody made any kind of noise about those guys unifying. Obviously, the 2 Charlo brothers weren't going to fight. But what about the Charlos fighting the other 2 guys, right? One could have fought Lara, and one could have fought Andrade. You know, they could have become unified champions, kind of like Klitschko's, right? And then just held all the belts. But nobody unified, not until fucking Hurd came around, and then Hurd started making that division fucking pop again. Shakur got a Tank Davis fight, and it's a Zepeda fight. Huge fights, legendary fights. Why we need to fucking put Keyshawn Davis in the conversation at this point? And Keyshawn, we just talked about how he's got a Muratalla fight, potentially maybe a Lomachenko fight, and fucking a Baranchek fight. So he's got legendary fights available to him as well. And then maybe even a fucking Andy Cruz fight, right, at number 4. So these guys have legitimate fights available to them before we start talking about them potentially fighting one another for undisputed. At this point, cut the noise, man. You're just creating drama where there is no drama. Like, I just don't understand. Like, there's not other shit we could be talking about? Jake Paul kills Tyson. Is Paul can handle Tyson's power? Yeah. Canelo said it on he's trying to be woke since black American fighters were doing the same bullshit until the day they haven't fought each other. And I ain't hating Canelo for saying it because I can understand. He's already fought Mexican fighters. At this point of his career, he wants his people to be elevated. So he thinks by them doing their thing, they can fucking reach their fucking ceiling. And he doesn't need to be in the way, stopping them, right? Getting in the way of their careers, their legacy, because he's already accomplished it all. So I get it. I agree with him. As far as Keyshawn and Shakur, I mean, the fact that both of them are at 135 both going to go to 130, 140. This could become an ongoing issue. But at this time, presently, it's not a fucking issue. It's just not an issue. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I don't think it's an issue. And here we go. The last picture of the night. The big one, the good one. So Drunk Irishman thinks that this motherfucker, Jake Paul, is going to kill Mike Tyson. The difference is Mike Tyson knows how to throw when people are throwing at him. When you ever watch Jake Paul throw, he throws like you and me. He throws like he's afraid to get hit in a counter, right? That's why a lot of times he just uses his jab and he doesn't sit down on his punches because he's afraid of getting countered. Tyson's not like that. When Tyson said he's different, he was born a killer. That's true. Tyson's going to come in bobbing and weaving, and once he gets into range, he's going to fucking let his shots fucking go. Jake Paul going to have to use his jab and fucking escape, at least for the first 3 to 4 fucking rounds. Right? Maybe try to catch Tyson with something clean as he comes in. Hope to tire him out by maybe hanging on him, pushing him back, holding on him, and then getting that old fucking legs to tire down so that his stance won't be so good anymore, and then potentially catch him on a counter. We saw 58-year-old Holyfield get destroyed by a washed-up MMA fighter in a boxing ring. 48 is 48. Doesn't matter. If it's Mike's father, time waits for no one. Is this a legit fight? I got Jake all day. What's up, Mars? I don't think it's a legit fight, though. But that's me. I think it's an exhibition fight, and that's what I think it is, That's why I'm not super excited about it because, I don't mind Tyson getting paid. Oh, of course. Both of them are juiced up to the gills. Nobody cares, right? They just want to both be looking good when they come into the ring, so they look like killers. So aesthetically, the fight sells. Like I said, globally, if this fight's on Netflix, how many fucking people potentially could watch this? Like, let's just look at I don't know what Netflix subscriber base is. What's Netflix global subscriber fan base? Netflix has 283 million subscribers. 283. Yeah, over 200 million. I mean, if you get a quarter of those people to watch this fight free on Netflix, they're going to make huge cash. Not that they're fucking charging people, and not that people are going to necessarily, they already pay for subscriptions, but it's huge. Advertisement, everything else that's going to come, right? Like, what a fucking huge fight this is, right? And I know people aren't saying this is the biggest fight in boxing, but let's be serious. When people talk about the face of boxing in America, if it's not Canelo Alvarez, it's fucking Jake Paul. And that shit is sickening. It's sickening for a boxing fan to say that a fucking social media person is the face of American boxing. But Jake Paul is going to do so much on this. Him getting paid $40 million, I don't know. How much money did Tank Davis really make in that Ryan Garcia fight? I don't know what they said it was. But him making $40 million on this and whatever else money that he's making through whatever means of finance he's getting, it's huge, huge. My prediction is Paul Tyson playing it safe, goes the distance, majority draw. Mike's contract might have a NDA agreement. I think that's what they were talking about, right? But we will see. But we assume that's what it's going to be. Hopefully Mike says, fuck it, and knocks his ass out. And if that happens, apparently, the penalties are fucking huge. So he would end up not making close to the $20 million he's guaranteed if he chooses to do that. New member, Hard Recoil. Everyone, be a member. It's nice. It's a happy community. Join up. It costs you less than a cup of Starbucks coffee. The Tavern. What's up, my man? In truth, I mean, I don't hate Jake Paul. I'm not like some people that are so anti Jake Paul. I think what he's doing for boxing is good. Think about it. Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor are both making $6 million fucking dollars. Thank you, Jake Paul, right? And they're telling you, Amanda Serrano is fucking blatantly in interviews fucking thank Jake Paul because without Jake Paul, she would not be really right now the megastar that she is, right? He's really, really fucking helped her a lot. And obviously Katie Taylor as well. And now you got guys like Barrios and, of course, what's his face, the small kid from 126 on this fight card as well. I think it's fantastic to spread the cash, give these people a huge platform. I mean, if these guys show out, they potentially could be doing it in front of 100 million people on Netflix. I don't know if it's going to be that much, but let's say 25 million people on Netflix. If 25 million people on Netflix see you do something and are fucking walk away being like, damn, that kid's great, right? A star is born. Irish Mad Chad. What do you think of Cooper? Not bad for a 17-year-old. Exactly. Somebody said he performed bad today. Tavern, did he perform bad today? Would you describe that as a bad performance? I mean, I think his overall numbers were 28, 14, 4, and 3. I know that he ended up losing the ball late in the game, but, he is 17. He's not the point guard, but that shows you, the position they put him in because literally he was the unstoppable player on that team. So they literally put the ball in his hands as the clock is running down to get the last shot off to win the game versus Kentucky. Man, it was a great performance overall. Me being a Kentucky fan, it couldn't have fucking worked out better. I walked away. I came home. I sat down on the sofa. I'm skimming through YouTube, and I saw that. I'm like, fuck, sweet. I don't even know the result of the game. Let's watch it. And the game was fucking great. Great game. Great game. Great result. Flag, I'm high on him. I think he's a great player. And what's great about him is his overall skill set. He's not like just an offensive player or a defensive player. He's a great all-around player, right? Athletic, great rebounder, very good defender, especially off the ball. Offensively, he still obviously can improve a lot, but it has some serious tools. Good passer as well. So good player, good kid. Thank you very much, Hard Recoil. You're a gentleman and a gentleman. Cheers to you, my friend. Green for green. Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed that game. I like college basketball generally much more than the NBA. NBA is so you go up by 20, I come back, I go up by 20, and then in the last quarter, one of us wins by 3. And it was like, fuck, man. It's always the same every fucking game. Not interesting at all. Darkness is in the house. What's up, Darkness? But yeah, overall, I can't be too upset. Things worked out pretty damn well. Where's this? Let me see if I can add these rankings. Share my screen. Box rec. What's that? Because they have to rest players. Oh, well, that's the thing, right? They got to fucking rest players. These guys are too infirmed to fucking play any legitimate length of a game. Lazy bastards, all of them. Like I just saw New York destroyed fucking Philadelphia, and that's what I said. I have no faith in Philadelphia at all. None at all. So here we go. Here's that Tyson card. Bruce Carrington, I think it's going to be a good opportunity for him to showcase himself. Obviously, my Canadian brethren, Lucas Badai, even though, he might be the guy that gets the most sensational knockout, but, I don't think he's really fighting a very high level of opponent right now. But obviously, he's in a good division, 135. And then, of course, Mario Barros. If Mario Barros really does well, this could be great. He could put himself in the A side position at welterweight, where he is the man to fight, right? Stanionis, Howard, and Boots Ennis may be chasing him because he's the guy with the most American fucking credit, right? The most name recognition behind him. Bring back the WBA to BoxRec. I just hope Ring Magazine takes over for BoxRec and we can get rid of BoxRec completely. CompuBox, BoxRec, WBC, WBA, IBF, WBO, fuck off. Ring Magazine, ranking, title, and fucking information boxing related. So you can do the same thing that you can do on BoxRec, right? That would be the best thing. One fucking app to rule them all, right? And obviously with rankings that make some fucking sense. Cooper will go number one. Cooper's going to go number one fucking easy. You got that one good kid that plays at where, Rhode Island. He went with Ron Harper's son. Is it Rhode Island? And he's good offensively. He's way smoother than fucking Cooper Flagg. He's very Kevin Durant. I don't know if he's Kevin Durant at this point because I remember Kevin Durant in Texas, and Kevin Durant was a fucking woo. He was a bad man. Fucking rebounding wise and fucking offensively, that dude was fucking a monster. The kid that's ranked behind Flagg is similar, tall, rangy, nice form in his jump shot. Obviously, he got the same kind of range, as Durant. But when I watched him play, he's not as good as Durant at this point, right? Bronny in G League now. Good, fuck Bronny. Like, that dude should never have fucking got drafted to begin with. He should have stayed in USC because he's garbage. Last year, if anyone watched the USC games, he was fucking trash. Trash. The team was shit, and he was garbage, right? Garbage. The fact he got drafted is only because his dad is LeBron James. I would have got drafted if my dad was LeBron James. We're drafting this great young player, 56-year-old Sean Newton, out of the fucking Z League. He's got potential. Straight out of the Z League. So, I don't know who this kid is that Bruce Carrington is fighting, but this is why Bruce is not getting a world title fight right away. Australian kid, 13-2, tough, never been knocked out. But like, look who he's fighting: 7-2, 8-1, 5-4. Okay, 15-0, not bad. Lost to this kid who was 16-0 by split decision. Lost to a guy who was 4-0. Like, this is easy work for Bruce. I mean, I know Bruce has only had 13 fights, but he's 27, right? The last win, he didn't look great against this guy, Sagawa. He's been in with better competition for sure. But I think it's time they step him up and put him in with some legitimate competition. Like, when we think about that division right now, where is he? Bruce Carrington. Right now, Bruce Carrington is the number one ranked WBC fighter. So he's in position to get either a fight with Ray Vargas, who's champion in recess, or Brandon Figueroa. But Brandon Figueroa, of course, is going to fight number 2 ranked Stephen Fulton. Right? Bruce Carrington is ranked number 2 by the WBA, which means he might be able to get a fight with Nick Ball. He's number 5 by the IBF, because obviously Leo's going to fight Tomoki Kameda, who's like 35 years old, hasn't done anything in years, whereas Omar Trinidad would be a better opponent. And he's ranked number 2 by the WBO. But we know Robsy Ramirez is going to fight Espinoza to try to regain his title. So he's right in position to get a world title fight in 2025. So I guess that's why they're just throwing him in with this guy. Stay busy, right? Get some rounds. And then once you get one of these world title fights, you'll be fucking ready to go. And to be fair, I mean, I think Carrington, Brandon Figueroa Carrington, what do you guys think? Do you think Figueroa would beat Carrington, or would Carrington beat Figueroa? I think Carrington is a better version of Stephen Fulton. More power, but still very skilled. So I think he would beat Figueroa more convincingly than the robbery that Fulton had. Nick Ball, I think he beats Nick Ball. He's fucking way taller. He's going to control distance. He's not going to get in too much trouble from Nick Ball. Angelo Leo, overrated. I know that True School Sports loves him, but I think if Stephen Fulton beat him, fucking Bruce Carrington is going to fucking decapitate him. And then we get to the best fighters, Ramirez and Espinoza. And I think that would be the toughest competition. Ramirez is not the most active fighter, but he's obviously super fucking skilled, hard puncher, great counter puncher. Espinoza looked great in his last fight. He's super tall, super long, looked really good, upset the apple cart by beating Ramirez, looked very good in his first title defense. I'm favoring him to beat Ramirez in the rematch, right? So I think the WBO is the one title that probably Carrington can't win. But what do you guys think? Who do you think Bruce Carrington can beat at 126 pounds? Figueroa, Nick Ball, Angelo Leo, Espinoza, Ramirez winner. Let me know in the comment section below. Don't be shy, people. You guys are all here doing what? Drinking cocktails? What's going on? $12 of you are in the house. Make sure you hit the like button. I don't know how many likes there are not, because on StreamYard I can't see, but nonetheless, hit the like button, say hello, and tell me, who do you think Bruce Carrington can beat at 126 pounds? What do you think, drunk Irishman? Who do you think Bruce Carrington can beat? Thank you, Iceman. I said to like it, and somebody ran away. Stingy bastards. Stingy bastards. Afraid of giving a like. Who else is yeah, and then of course we have Mario Barros as well. Mario. It's Mario. Mario, 29 years old, right? He's really still in his fucking prime when we think about it. And currently at the welterweight division, I mean, you know, Stanionis is a very good fighter, strong, good jab, physical. Boots Ennis, obviously a switch hitter, very skilled. Both of them don't have the best defense. Brian Norman, hard puncher, not the best defensive fighter, right? So all three of those guys are good offensive fighters, but defensively, they're not that great. And when you think about who Mario Barros has beaten in his career, his resume is much better than all of them. His wins against Ugis fucking trumps every win on any of those other three guys' resume. Giovanni Santiago, you know, it's not a bad win after a loss to Keith Thurman. Even his loss to Keith Thurman, you know, just taking on a Keith Thurman level of opponent, that's something none of those guys fucking ever dreamed of doing, right? He's a way better opponent than anybody those guys have fought. And then, of course, you have the guy he already beat that's going to be on this undercard as well, Akhmedov, who's currently 10-3, 9 knockouts, the Russian fighter who's going to be fighting Oscar Duarte. If this guy beats Oscar Duarte, that fucking win for Barrios looks that much better, right? It really elevates even more because, you know, it's showing you a fight he had years ago and how that fighter is still relevant and obviously still a good fighter, able to beat a real legitimate guy like Duarte. And obviously his last two big losses, he lost to Alberto Puello, not a terrible loss, split decision. And then he lost to Kenneth Sims Jr. by majority decision. The only guy that beat him clearly was Mario Barros back in 2019, who beat him by unanimous decision. So, you know, this kid's good, man. Quality operator. And now you take on Oscar Duarte, the tough Mexican fighter Obviously beat Jojo Diaz, stopping him in 2024. Obviously got stopped by Ryan Garcia, but was really fucking Ryan Garcia up, giving him a hard time until Ryan eventually landed that vaulted left hook to get him out. So not bad, not bad. But I think we'll call it a day. Thanks, peeps, for jumping in. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys all later. Obviously, this weekend we got fights. As I said, I have to work on Saturday, so I won't be showing or going live for the Tyson fight, which kicks me in the nuts because I could watch it on the big screen on fucking Netflix. So that's terrible. But I will be around, obviously, for the DAZN card on Sunday. And to be fair, that's the card I'm more excited about. Obviously, Latin night card. It's going to be a great fight card. I can't wait to see fucking Zepeda back in the ring. The Smith versus Zerto fight is going to be fucking great as well. But thanks for jumping in, everyone. I appreciate it. And I will see you this weekend. Enjoy your week.